What's going on, everybody? I got another movie review for you today, and I'm really excited to talk to you about this one because we are going to be talking about the newest film brought to us by director Barry Jenkins, and that film is If Beale Street Could Talk. Now, If Beale Street Could Talk is the story of a young black couple in 1970s Harlem, New York, and it's a tragic love story. It's not only the story of their love and their passion for one another, but it is also the story and more of a story about the injustices that were happening to black people across the nation at this time period. Now, before I get into the full review, if you've seen If Beale Street Could Talk, I want to know your thoughts about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you indifferent about it because you haven't seen it? And more importantly, what is your favorite romantic film? Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comments section down below. Now, what did I like about this movie? If there's one thing I can say about Barry Jenkins when it comes to Moonlight and now If Beale Street Could Talk is his cinematography that he provides with both of these films is immaculate. All of the close-ups, everything is perfectly in focus. It's exactly where it needs to be, where the camera moves, the dolly shots, everything from the beginning to the end of the film is so technically perfect that as far as a technical film, this film is right up there with First Man for me. You know, I think that film is a technical masterpiece. Next up, the story. I thought the story did have a semi-decent flow to it. I thought the script was phenomenal, and I also thought that the performances above everything else, I believe, are what carry this film. The performances by Regina King and Stephan James specifically are so heartbreaking and so tragically real that you not only latch on to them, you connect with them in a way that is very, very different and very, very unique to film in general. They just feel like real people. You feel like you're watching real life events unfold, and it's when the dark and the horrible stuff happens in this really tragic love story, your heart just breaks for them. And of course, I couldn't get away with talking about any of the other stuff I've talked about here without talking about Barry Jenkins' directions. Very much like with Moonlight, the direction in If Beale Street Could Talk is perfect for what the movie is. How the movie flows from beginning to end, the direction, everything is so uniquely tied to the film, and every single story beat. The screenplay, I'm sure, is phenomenal because the dialogue in here feels realistic. Where the story flows from beginning to end, it feels like a natural progression, and all of the important points that a great screenplay needs to hit, this film most certainly does. Now, as far as my issues with If Beale Street Could Talk, I have heard so many great things about this movie. So many people are saying this is one of the best love stories ever created. It's one of the best films made in the past couple of years. And while I will say it is one of the best technically made films I have seen in a long time, I do feel like it has been extremely overhyped. And when I went in to see it, I had to kind of lower my expectations, and I still had a lot of problems. For one thing, the pacing for me personally was complete crap. There were several times during the course of this movie where I understand it is a very artsy fartsy film. It's a very slow burn film. There were so many points in this film where I thought they could have edited it down, they could have cut down some stuff. The film could have been 10 minutes shorter easy if they took out some of those more artistic shots, those more artistic slow motion segments. And I feel it would have helped the pacing move along a little quicker. As it stands though, I was checking my watch at least a couple of times while I was watching this film. The next thing I have to say is I understand that this is a powerful love story, that this is a very, very unique love story. I will also say for me personally, this is a kind of love story that I have seen before in other films. I'm not going to say that this story may be unique because it is adapted from a book, and that may be adapted from real life events. In that way, it's unique. But other than that, this love story, in some sense, does feel somewhat generic, even though it is a very powerful love story at that. Now, as far as the film goes, that's about all the issues that I have for it, and that's all the praise that I can give If Beale Street Could Talk. This is a very powerful, very technically well-made film. But when it comes down to it, for me personally, it didn't really impact me, and it didn't really give me the sense of awe and groundbreaking filmmaking that I think so many other people think this film is. For me personally, a more powerful and more groundbreaking film this year or last year is Bradley Cooper's A Star Is Born. If Beale Street Could Talk is a great film, and I do recommend it to anybody who loves film, but anybody else who's going to go to If Beale Street Could Talk and they're expecting a very heartfelt love story, I think they may be a little disappointed, and I think they may be a little bored, because this film is definitely generated for Oscar buzz. This film is definitely made specifically for film lovers who can admire all the technical aspects of it. With a mixture of great performances, a phenomenal screenplay, and all the technical elements inside of If Beale Street Could Talk, it does make it a formidable force for Oscar season, and I would love to see this film get some award consideration. But with all of that said and done, everybody, I'm going to say that If Beale Street Could Talk is a casual watch. Now, as I stated before, those are my thoughts in the movie, but I want to get your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Or are you indifferent to it? Whatever it may be. And if you're new to this channel, thank you so much for stopping by. If you love movies and you consider yourself a cinephile, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel so we can get a great conversation started. And for those of you who are already subscribed and come back to my videos each and every single week, thank you so much. You're all a bunch of rock stars. And of course, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right there and subscribe and become part of the fray of nerds who love cinema. You all have a fantastic day.